Hey guys, this is Chelsea with Jig TV. I'm here with Tony Testa. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good, I'm great. Let's just start from the beginning because you've done quite a bit and it's the beginning of your career, but you've done a lot. What was your first gig?
My first gig, gosh, I gotta get this one right, was Tap Kids when I was 14 years old. I toured with a off-Broadway tap show directed by Lisa Hopkins.
Nice.
Yeah, and I made some amazing friends off that job, as well as had a great experience touring for my first time.
And then you went back to the studio, and then what happened from there?
Yeah, Tap Kids was kind of on the weekends, so after we'd come back from the weekends, of course, I'd go right back to school. I was in public school, and I think I was probably wrestling at the same time as well as playing baseball. So once I got to a point that I could...
Sports guy and a dance guy, they do exist.
Oh, I hope my timing is right, my timeline. Whatever.
And then you toured with Aaron Carter, correct?
Yes, when I was 16.
Okay.
I toured with Aaron Carter.
And how did you get that? Do you think did you audition or what?
I actually didn't audition. Well, not that I know of anyways. I think it was more from just taking class. Brian Freeman was the choreographer.
Okay.
So just taking his class and stuff like that. I just remember one day I was in the studio teaching, and I got a call on my cell phone, and he left a message just saying that he needed to have dancers right then and there. So we had to pick up and leave like 3 weeks later for, 2 or 3
is
months.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then when you moved out here, did you already have an agent? And how did that work out? Did you have auditions right away, or?
Actually, when I moved out here, I did have an agent, because when I was 16, I put together my first choreography reel.
Okay.
And
so do you suggest to dancers that is something they should do if they're really trying to work?
Yeah, definitely, especially for the dancers who are really interested in choreography. And even if you don't do choreographed jobs with it, it's good to be able to hand out to studio owners and people who can at least see your work, because when you come out here, like, rent is expensive.
Right.
And, that's every little bit you can get help. So when I put together my choreography reel when I was 16, I actually, through an audition that I did with Misha, we auditioned for Madonna in New York when we were down there for a convention.
Okay.
And I actually me and him got to meet Jamie. He pulled us aside or whatever. And then he's the one who actually hooked me up with MSA.
Okay.
And got me to the agency and got me set up and everything like that.
So can you say, honestly, do you think knowing the right people must be really important in this industry, right? Networking, meeting as many dancers, as many choreographers. Do you think that's important?
Yes, completely. But most importantly, it has to come from a good spot. Like, if you're obviously just trying to network and you're just trying to make connections just for money purposes, people can see through that.
Right.
So when you go places, you kind of got to let your, what you do and your hard work speak for itself.
Right.
And then, usually you find that the people who can really see that genuinely come to you. You don't even have to go out as much and try to find it if you really are so true to yourself. And you put yourselves in the right situations in front of those kinds of people. And I've been very blessed in that way. Completely.
So it sounds like Janet Jackson saw that true nature in you, correct? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I feel like I got really lucky with that one, because she did get the reel that I made when I was 16. That got into her hands, and I think I got a call when I was 17 or 18 saying that they wanted me to choreograph.
Were you intimidated?
Beyond.
Okay.
But the intimidation.
How did you handle
until
yourself?
I actually got to the process.
Okay.
So once she told me that she was interested in my stuff, or via Gil, I was still in high school. So once I graduated and moved out, I was still 18. And starting that, we kind of started working together. It was me, Reno, and Gil that were the 3 choreographers, and he's also the director. But to get to that position, I was kind of chosen in a group of 4. There was one other guy that auditioned. So we kind of, even though she chose me, it was more chose you to come audition, put your choreography next to these people's, and see how it kind of works out, see how it looks, see the cohesiveness of how everybody's stuff works together. Yeah. So after that process, that was where it got stressful. That's where when I was in the room.
Working with other people.
Yeah, my only choreography experience before that was literally in the studio at home, after school, by myself. So when I was thrown into a room with people like Gil and Reno who've done this forever, I was they had 2 8 counts, 3 8 counts, and I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, good. Well, this job was great. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
So do you take suggestions from the artist? Do they come to you, or are you like, hey, I've got this idea? How does it work? Do you collaborate with them, and how much communication do you have with an artist? artist?
You know, for me, since it was my first gig and everything like that, and Gil had been working with her for so long, I didn't communicate as much directly through Janet. It was one of those things where, since it was my first choreography job, I would put together movements and I would do stuff, and then he would say, okay, this will work on her body, this won't. This is good for this is not. So it was very much a trial and error process in terms of I would just come up with steps, and then, you know, they would choose what goes where, and it was a really good learning experience for me to see what steps go well together, what steps are good for an artist that is exactly the opposite of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A woman who was...
That's interesting. I never would have thought of that.
Like, especially me being tall, that was one of my biggest struggles, is all the steps that I would do, he'd be like, okay, now honestly, you tell me if you think Janet's going to look good doing that.
Yeah.
Like, back to the drawing board.
Very interesting. Okay, so did you, in rehearsals, what were the rehearsals like? Were they long and grueling?
Do you mean the choreography rehearsals or the actual...
rehearsals where you actually got the dancers in there, got working with her? Was it like a long deal? Were you there every day, all day long?
Yeah, and she's known for that. Like, she's very much known for rehearsing her dancers.
Right.
So everybody is so clean. And it was amazing because I was asked to dance as well, like, and that was from a carnival that I did for Blake. So I was actually kind of doing the choreography thing, and then we would go to dance rehearsals. So
it really is getting your face out there and being seen. And
just go out. When you come out to LA first, the best thing you can do is take people's class. You know, if you really want it bad enough, obviously you're going to work hard, and then they're going to be like, okay, well, come do this for me. Come do this little show. And you're going to do so many, like, free things. And it's all experience, and that's one of the most important things out here is getting experience.
On sort of a different note, do you think if you're getting ready to graduate high school and you're considering going to college or you're considering dancing, do you think you can do both? Do you think that it's difficult? I mean, I know that you are in school or went to school when you came out here. What do you think?
Okay, well, the college thing, it's a tough situation. I wanted to do both really bad. I came out here, I went straight to community college, and then, like, literally, I would go, like, to school and then have to get out of school early to go start with the choreography rehearsals for Jan. So we were, like, that was really stressful for me. So I finished a whole year, and then as soon as stuff kicked up, they were like, honestly, Tony, really? Like, everybody's rehearsal schedule, and her schedule was getting planned out around me getting out of school. So my parents were like, you can go back to school. And there really is always time for school. I really wanted to make it work, and I still plan on getting my degree.
I think that's great that you tried both.
Yeah, and so I am a college dropout.
Okay.
So I gotta give
Parents, if they start, they're going to drop out.
One of my friends, her name is Galen Hooks, and she is one of the most working dancers that I know out here. She just graduated from college.
So you can do it.
She did it all on the computer. It was all on the computer through Penn State. So, I mean, she...
Okay. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, I know you were part of the Britney thing, and you just performed with her. Congratulations. There was a lot of media coverage about it. What was that like in the background, like behind the scenes with such a huge artist who is, you know, the ultimate pop diva? What was that like?
Well, I mean, gosh, it was hard because when we were in rehearsals, we rehearsed for 3 weeks, and we didn't see her as much. Like, I feel like she was doing other things, you know, trying to get this whole career thing back up. So really, we'd rehearse this dance to a T for 3 weeks for this one performance.
Which you guys looked awesome.
Thank you. I mean, we were all very pleased with it. You know, watching the footage back, we were so happy with our performance. You know, we didn't see as much of her. Like, she wasn't in rehearsals. This is where Janet is somebody who's so hands-on that she's in every rehearsal, and she's in the back sweating just like us. So that's kind of what I was used to, since that was like my first big artist like that. But I feel like Britney just had other things going on, and I'm not sure if that had to do with label stuff or what it was. But getting to the actual performance, it was
interesting. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. And you've had an amazing career, and I have, obviously you have much more to come.